Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of AmiSights. I'm Ami Katsar, your host, along with my twin, Lid Uzer, aka SBA Queen.
Good
I'm so
morning.
excited to have my friend on today, Joe Apfelbaum, aka LinkedIn Daddy. Is that
Ooh, the daddy is here. The daddy's in the house.
Joe? What's going on, buddy?
Life is good. Life is good. I am feeling very, very grateful. I'm in a very good place in my life. I went through a lot of challenges throughout my life, and I remember, when I was doing some work to try to figure out my personal brand, like I think it was maybe like 15 years ago, I met with this guy and he sat me down. He's like, for $10,000, I'll help you figure out your personal brand. We're going to go into all the issues of your life. And I was thinking to myself, issues? I don't freaking have any issues in my life. And then God's like, you know what? Let's give him some issues. And then, yeah, and then I had a couple of issues. But you know what? I am on the other side of most of the issues. And I'm very happy that I had those issues. And now I could just live my life and enjoy my 5 beautiful kids and enjoy making an impact on the 23,000 users in 40 countries around the world that we're impacting with our new technology. And I was comparing your profile, Ami, to Lynn's profile, and it's like, oh my God, Ami has like 10 times more followers than Lynn. But Lynn, you're amazing on LinkedIn. But like, you posted 12 minutes ago. But Ami is like totally crushing it too. So it's like interesting that both of you guys are crushing it with your green jackets. You guys are both amazing. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, Ami is the one who taught me and helped me with LinkedIn.
According to the internet, right? You're the SBA queen. You're a recognized expert in SBA lending. That's pretty amazing. And I'm doing research on you as we speak. If Ami looks at my LinkedIn profile, he'll see that what I'm doing on the back end. But it's just interesting to see what you're up to, and you're actually a pretty impressive person, Lynn. So thanks for having me on your
Joe,
podcast.
Joe, this is about you. It's not about us, buddy. Tell us your story.
Yeah. What
My story.
you danced around these issues that came up. Were you already working in a different career when you decided to change paths or no?
No, so when I was a teenager, my father really wanted me to become a rabbi. That's what my father wanted me to do. He wanted me to be a rabbi.
You were going to
And
say doctor, rabbi.
yeah, no, his father wanted him to be a doctor and he went to pre-med and then he decided he's going to go do religious studies in Brooklyn with a rabbi in Crown Heights. And he got into a fight with his dad and his dad was like, if you're taking this approach, I'm not supporting you. And my father's like, I don't need money. And that's kind of like, been the challenge in my parents' relationship for a long time. I love my parents very much, but the challenge is my dad is not interested in making money. He just is very spiritual, very religious. And my mother, she wants to make money, So I watched my parents suffer in the Lower East Side when my mother tried to open up a store for many years. And my father was pushing me to be a rabbi. My mother was kind of just like, figure out how to make money to support your family because we need money. And eventually she went out of business after 10 years of trying. She never made it to the $1 million mark. And, you guys know this 96% of businesses are under the $1 million mark in the United States. 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And people don't know how to leverage debt. People don't know how to be able to use strategy. People don't know how to be able to do the things they need to do to get where they want to go. And they often get in their own way. So me watching my mother not being strategic, trying to get lucky, put this wound inside me that I didn't even know I had, that I made me want to be very, very strategic. So I wanted to make my father happy. So I went to rabbinical school. I became a rabbi in Israel. And after becoming a rabbi, I realized that's not what I want to do for a living. I went to my mother crying, telling her, Ma, I went to rabbinical school. I became a rabbi. I don't know how I'm going to make money. So she said, get in the station wagon. We had an old, used, beat up station wagon. I don't know if you guys remember the station wagons.
Sure.
It's like the minivan of back in the day. I got into the station wagon with my mom. She drove me to the Brooklyn Public Library on 17th Avenue and 60th Street in Borough Park. And she said, go into that place over there. And that was kind of forbidden, to tell you the truth, because for a religious Jew to walk into a library where they have all the books, all the knowledge in the library. You don't go in there. You go to the Torah study. You learn everything from Torah. You don't go to the library and learn books about business. Rely on God for the money. And so I said, well, God is sending me here. My mother told me the following. She said, formal education, going to college, because I couldn't afford college. She was never going to send me to college. And my friends were going to college. Some of my friends were becoming accountants and lawyers. And I was like, how am I going to make money? She said, formal education will make you a very nice living. But she said, self education, she told me in Spanish because she's from Argentina. She said, self education will make you a fortune. And so I walked in there and I picked up books on web design, believe it or not, because that's kind of like what I was attracted to. The internet was coming out. It was all hot then. It was forbidden. The internet was forbidden, but you know me, I like to taste the forbidden fruit from now and then. So I tasted the forbidden fruit of the internet, like Adam and Eve, and I became addicted right away. I was like, holy shistles, I can build a website with Notepad. I can learn how to use a computer. At that point, I didn't even have a computer. So me and my mother chipped in. We went to J&R Music and Computer World in Manhattan. Now it's out of business, but we bought a compact Presario computer with a 33.6K modem. And my friends were like all jealous because they had a 14.4K modem, which is much slower. And I got free internet from the city and I plugged in. That's the noise that the internet made back then.
Dialing
And
up,
I,
yeah.
yeah, and I built websites. And then people started asking me, Joe, can you build me a website? So I built websites for popupsukkah.com. And I started just building websites for people. And I would build 100 websites a year, and people were paying me about $1,000 a website. So that's how I made my first six-figure salary, just doing side hustles like that. And then got married and did some had a bunch of kids. And through the process, I found a partner, built one of the fastest growing companies in America, and then I started thinking to myself, what type of legacy do I want to leave? What type of things do I want to do? And what I realized very quickly is that I needed to do personal development. I didn't really know who I was. Like I had to figure myself out. Even in EO, when I joined EO, I was 100 pounds heavier than I am today. He knows the process that people go through when they join EO, when they join Vistage. And so, my partner ended up leaving me, and my investor, and I got an investor at one point. I ended up having challenges with that, and then eventually COVID hit. We lost 75% of our reoccurring revenue, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. And then my wife, we decided to get divorced through that process. It was a very difficult process, and thankfully for EO and for all my friends and for all the people in my life and all the Tony Robbins and Landmark and all the things that I went through that really helped me be able to have a different perspective on life and be able to know that everything happens for me, not to me. And that really helped me be able to build this new business called EVAI that now we're able to be global. I joined EO Global, so I'm in a global chapter of Entrepreneurs Organization now, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm in a place of like, I feel like I'm living a different life. You know what I mean? Like I have my 5 kids. I moved to New Jersey. I'm the Brooklyn guy. My LinkedIn still says Brooklyn on it. My kids still live in Brooklyn. I'm in Brooklyn almost every day. But, like now I'm like I'm doing the wild, wild Jersey West. I went west. I went to the wild, wild west, the sixth borough. I know that you guys are in Philly, so it gets a little wilder when you go to Philly, but like there's no stop signs on my corner. There's no people just drive right. There's no stop signs. Jersey doesn't have stop signs. Red lights are optional, like
Suggestions.
so that's my story, Ami.
So
And thanks
tell
for
us
asking.
about, first of all, how's your relationship with your kids? All good?
Much better than it was while I was married. It was always good. I always pride myself in being a good dad. But being a good dad in a troubled relationship is a very difficult thing, especially if you can't be around and there's a lot of fights going on. There's a lot of lack of integrity and here and there and whatever. So, I think that going through that process, my kids, living in a religious neighborhood with, work it out, don't talk about your trash, just
Really?
make it work, do it for the kids, stay together for the kids, like that was something that we tried for a long time. I tried to like, I always thought to myself that if I become more like a better person, that I would be loved more. Like if I worked on myself and I sharpened who I was, if I lost weight and if I stopped smoking and if I had more integrity and if I, like I just sharpened myself and sharpened myself and sharpened myself and became better and better and better. No matter how good I was, the more good, the better I became and the more authentic I became, the more people in my life started peeling off. Whether it was a partner, an investor, a wife, like things just started peeling off. And who I am at 20 is not who I am at 40, right? Like, so things change, but the spirit inside me is the same spirit inside me. It's the same consciousness inside me. It's the same soul inside me that just wants to play, that just wants to have a good time, that just wants to dance. And that's kind of like I've become more and more authentic throughout spending the last 2 decades. And I think business was my pencil sharpener.
So interesting. I mean, to me, that's quite the journey. And to go and do what you did and build a business.
and then restart the whole thing completely from scratch with zero investment in a time where
After
AI can do
COVID?
everything after COVID, after 2022,
Mhm.
when ChatGPT came out, I realized I gotta restart. I gotta restart from scratch with zero. I gotta restart from scratch. My
Right.
divorce got settled in 2022, and I said, "I need to restart. I'm not taking investment. I'm gonna start with my first customer, Alana Winter, an EO member, $180. My first customer in 2023. I think it was like May of 2023. She's my first client. She's still a client today. And I was just like, I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna start with annual reoccurring revenue of $180. That's kind of like the start. The way I knew this was possible is because I pre-sold this technology to 100 people when I came up with the idea. I put up a LinkedIn poll. 500 people said they were interested. I put up a Stripe thing, and 100 people paid. But the original technology that I built, it was just complete trash. It wasn't I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. I built something and it crashed and the developer disappeared on me, and like it was a nightmare. And I was thinking about refunding all the people. The people were like, "Eh, don't refund us. We're fine." But eventually I built something proper, and then in May of 2023, it took me all the way to May to launch it properly, and then I got my first customer on Evie AI. It was called something else before, and then we called it Evie AI, and then we just went with it, and now we have 23,000 users in 40 countries around the world. We had our best month ever last month, and we keep growing, and we keep adding new features to the app, and I'm just so grateful that we have this technology, the sales assistant for social media that can help people, because now I can impact millions of people. Whereas before with my agency, we serviced 1,100 clients. We did millions of dollars in revenue. We made an impact and blah, blah, blah. But it's not the same. It's not the same when I take somebody and for $29, I change their life. Or for a couple $1,000, I give them access to a community of over 1,000 engaged LinkedIn users, and I bring them in and I give them AI research and I give them unlimited posts, comments, messages, the works. Like if I can give you something for a couple of dollars, even if you have a full time job or you're just getting started and you have no money, and I can sit with you and teach you how to make $100,000 a year like I did when I was in my 20s, and I show you how I do it. The LinkedIn Live I did before this one, right before this session, I booked 3 meetings. I had 8 minutes left for this, and I booked 3 meetings while I was on LinkedIn Live until I got to this. And if I wouldn't be doing this right now, I'd be booking meetings for my sales team.
Joe, now we're going to get to Lynn's favorite topic, AI.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it is.
AI.
So tell us, what is every
I'm
AI?
always interested. That's what it means to me.
Most of our clients are 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Okay.
Some of them are in their 70s and 80s, but most of them are in their 50s and 60s. And most of them don't know how to use artificial intelligence or technology. That's how they are. Most of them don't know how to do it. So we offer something called tech support, where we sit with you for 10 hours and we basically teach you how to use your computer, teach you how to use AI, and we hold your hand through the process. What
Wait,
is
well, one
Evie AI?
second. Can I interrupt for their businesses? Is this all business to business? You're not teaching grandmoms how to use AI to talk to their
No,
grandchildren. I mean,
no, they all have an offer. They're a coach, a consultant, an entrepreneur, an
okay,
executive, a CEO, a president of a company.
okay,
They're
okay,
not really sure how to use AI. They're
okay.
not really sure how to
All
use
right.
their computer, but they need some type of tech support. And so we provide tech support to people. That's kind of like the customer service part of what we offer. Our main thing is an AI assistant that sits on the side of your browser, and it helps you be able to do things. Like, what are some of the things you can do? So if you're using LinkedIn, Lynn, one of the most important things that you can do is post on LinkedIn. But if I told you to write a post, it would maybe take you a long time to A, come up with the idea for what to write about, and B, to actually write it, and C, to write it with the right format, with the hook, main points, call to action, and hashtags, and to be able to create an image. So what I do is with Evie AI, I simply push a button, it comes up with the idea for me based on who I am. Like it knows who I am.
Right.
And it comes up with the idea and it says, okay, let's say I'm an SBA queen, right? And it knows that I'm the SBA queen. I push one button and it gives me 4 ideas right in front of me. In literally just seconds, the 4 ideas appear. So once I have the 4 ideas in front of me, I then push another button. Maybe the idea that it came up with is like, how do we leverage technology to support women in business to create more equitable opportunities?
Okay.
Or what are the top challenges facing women entrepreneurs today that we can address them? Or let's discuss the importance of mentorship in the SBA community and how it can shape the future. So if I for future leaders, and if I press generate post, I just push one button with my fat hand. I just push the button and I say generate the post. And then all of a sudden, a post just shows up within 5 seconds. And the post sounds like me and is perfect for LinkedIn, formatted for LinkedIn. And then you push another button and it gets formatted for Facebook. And you push another button, it gets formatted for Instagram. You push another button, it gets formatted for YouTube. And you push another button and it makes you an image. And then you have it all there in front of you and you're just pushing buttons instead of writing prompts. It makes life so much easier and it costs 50 cents. Like it costs almost nothing for a business owner to jump in and use it. And so it's like, if somebody wants a demo of this, they can just send the word demo to my assistant as a text, and my assistant will reply instantly. They can send the word demo to 9, and then they get a demo of it, and that's it. They don't have to do anything else. They just send a demo to 973-841-8868, and then boom, they get a demo video. They could watch it if they want, and they could reply, and then my assistant will talk to them and help them be able to do what they need to do. So AI is about making life easier. And who doesn't want an assistant? This guy named Jack Daly. Ever heard of Jack Daly, Lynn?
Yeah. He's
So if you've been to the EO circles, he's a coach. He's a sales coach.
I've heard of his name. Yeah, maybe.
And this is what he always says. And he borrowed this from somebody else, but this is what he always says. He says, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant.
Hmm,
That's what he always
that
says.
makes sense. Yeah. Right.
Okay, Joe, now I'm going to challenge you a little bit. Ready? How could we learn to leverage AI and at the same time not make us lazy?
Yeah.
How can we manage to leverage AI without becoming lazy? And I'll tell you what it is. You will shift from doing dumb work to doing more creative work. It's actually making you less lazy and making you do what you love. So if I told you you're so lazy you're not posting on LinkedIn, now you're no longer lazy because you're pushing buttons to do the posts on LinkedIn and you can spend time actually getting on conversations with people. So you'll be less lazy because you're using AI, because all the things that you didn't want to do that you were lazy about, when we judge ourselves, saying lazy is a form of self-judgment, saying, oh, I'm lazy about this, or people are lazy. Lazy is a label that we put on saying that the person should be working harder and they're not, so they're lazy, or they should be doing this and they're not. So we're shitting on them. We're basically judging them. The reason why people are lazy, it's not because they're actually bad people. It's because they don't want to do whatever the work is that they need to do. But if you can get a robot to do the work, you wouldn't be lazy anymore because you'd be doing what you love doing instead of cutting the grass. You have your robot cutting the grass. Instead of writing comments on LinkedIn, you have a robot helping you draft comments in your voice, and then you can approve them or disapprove them. If I want to create videos, I'd be too lazy to open up a video editing program. But we just did a boot camp yesterday for 4 hours. 4 hours, we sat with 100 of our clients, and we taught them how to write prompts, and the AI will make an entire done-for-you video that's ready to go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, the works, that looks exactly like you doing anything you want with any of your clients. Leaving testimonials, having conversations, building bridges, whatever it is, teaching, like the way I'm doing this podcast right now. I could push a button, the podcast gets recorded in my voice, in Ami's voice, and in Lynn's voice, just like this. And everything that would needed to be said was said already. So
Joe,
this
who's your
is powerful.
competition?
I don't really have someone who competes on the three. There are many people that compete on different things. So, for example, there are 3 things that we provide. We provide strategy, we provide community, and we provide technology. Those are the 3 things that we provide. From the strategy, there's plenty of people that compete with us on strategy, but they don't give you the community and the technology. There are many people that compete on community. There are plenty of communities out there that people can sign up to, but they don't give you the strategy, and they don't give you could pay for the community, but they're not going to give you the strategy and the technology. And there are many technologies out there that do similar things than what we do, but they're not giving you the strategy to implement it, and they're not giving you the community to make it successful. And so the way that we have it, and it's very hard. These are 3 separate businesses technically, but because I have the background as a marketing agency, so I have the strategy down pat, and we're teaching, and because I'm a teacher, I'm a certified Google trainer. I teach LinkedIn employees how to use LinkedIn. I've been training companies and people on how to use LinkedIn for over 10 years. I've trained over 1,000 companies and their employees. I'm a professional speaker. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association. I went from being shy to being a professional speaker that speaks for YPO chapters and Vistage chapters.
And you're a rabbi.
And I'm a certified rabbi. And so for what I'm trying to say is that people in this world, they need to leverage all 3 things. So in terms of my competitors, there are plenty. You can go to ChatGPT and start writing prompts. They're a competitor to us, but if you want to actually make $100,000 a year in profit, additional to what you're making right now using tools like LinkedIn, you need the trifecta. We call it the trifecta: the strategy, the community, the technology. Because if you only have one, it's not going to work. And some people, they buy technology and then they don't use it. Have you ever bought a piece of technology and then didn't use it? It's because you were missing the first two. And so if you have the first two, you're going to use the technology, but you're going to do it in a smart way. So you're not going to want to be lazy, and ultimately you'll be successful. And this is why we have so many happy paying clients.
Very interesting. We were
It's
just at
just
a
shared experience the other day. Somebody on LinkedIn wrote this is what scares me, Joe, about all this stuff. Someone on LinkedIn wrote a post about sort of all the basically impact of these bots and these tools on content, and how it's difficult to tell what people's real thoughts are and what's machine generated.
What is a real thought? You
Well,
know you're in simulation, right?
a real look, I mean, I'll share my experience. I write columns all the time, right?
Are you writing the column, or is the person controlling you writing the column?
Who's controlling me?
Ah, you don't even know because you're in a simulation. You are AI. So
Okay.
you are under the idea that you are an identity for yourself. And because you think you're an identity, you think you're separate from the bots. The truth is, you're a version of the bot. And you
Maybe
think you're not, and you don't know. And so you're worried about, oh, the bots are not going to be authentic. Dude, the bots are authentic.
the bots are, but let me just share this story. This guy wrote his column about this point, and then the first three responses were automated. And how do I tell they're automated? I go put it in the chat tester, and they were all 397% from the chat tested. So I I now use tools to help me write my columns, but whether I'm right or wrong, I think I'm right. I then put them in my checker, and any pieces of it look like they are chat generated, I clean them up.
Amazing. Amazing. And you know what? I could I can build a persona within Evi AI that will make it 100% sound like a human. And so that's the key. The key is, what is the AI checker checking for anyway? It's checking for M dashes. It's checking for specific AI generated words like unlock and insights and whatever. Like at the end of the day, people are using AI in a way that's not looking like a human talks. That's the same way of sending a spammy email and just blasting your whole list with selling stuff. It's the same way of walking into a business networking event and shoving business cards in everybody's face and then leaving.
That's right.
It's the same thing like farting in a closed subway cart. It's not appropriate.
And so it's all fascinating, and it's fascinating. Like, I'm friends with our rabbi at my synagogue. Okay. But we have a date where I'm going to load up he writes every sermon and every obituary. He's probably going to kill me if this goes out there. And I want to load those up into chat for him or into an AI tool so they can learn his voice and they can help him write faster. Right. So
100%.
and I tell them, so, but it's just the world. It's pretty interesting to me, though, because I think we've done at multi-funding. This is what my column is about this week. We've done a pretty good job, I think, at incorporating the marketing tools out there and our content delivery tools into AI stuff. And I think we've done a nice job. But now I'm trying to figure out how to use AI to make us operationally more efficient in our core business. And that's much more difficult because we have to worry about privacy and security and safe environments and everything and it feels like the world, all this technology, it feels like the old .com bubble days, and all the technology out there is changing so fast and so rapidly. It feels a little bit to me like going to put your feet in the sand at the beach and the sand keeps moving. It's really hard to choose players and stuff to anchor yourself now, especially when you're not using AI on $99 a month or $39 a month or $79 a month or whatever it is tools. But when you're and we all have to, I think, figure out how to use this technology to really make us more efficient in our core operations of all of our businesses. And that part is also extremely challenging. I don't know if you agree with me or disagree with me, Joe.
Well, I would say that regardless if I agree with you or disagree with you, the bottom line is we need to be more strategic with everything that we're doing. We need to be much more strategic with every single thing that we're doing. And the more strategic we are, and this is kind of like my childhood wound, right? This is like the thing I want. The reason why my mother failed is because, the reason I watched her fail on the Lower East Side is because of exactly that. I watched her struggle to try to build her business and then fail because she didn't have a strategy. Everybody needs to have an AI strategy. That's probably the most important thing that you need to have right now in your business because AI is coming for you. AI is coming for all of us. They're coming for all of our jobs. From the cleaning lady to the butler to the servers, to like literally everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to see artificial intelligence just taking over. And as a result of artificial intelligence taking over, we need to be very, very careful with how we do things. AI is here to stay, it's not going anywhere. And if you use artificial intelligence correctly, you're much more likely to be successful. And if you use it incorrectly, you're much likely to fail. They say that AI is going to be taking over all the jobs, right? It's going to completely take over all the jobs. So if it completely takes over all the job, what's your job going to be? You think we're going to need SBA lenders when the AI can make all the decisions? So, like, think about it. Do you think we're going to need marketers? Do you think we're going to need podcasters? Someone recently said that all content will be AI generated content in 5 years. Nobody will even want to tune into human generated content because it's not entertaining. It's not fun to listen to a human. It's fun to listen to a machine that makes it sound like a human and it gives you exactly what you need when you need it and it stimulates you with dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all in the right way, in the way that you want to hear it. And so if that's where we're headed and that's where we're going, we need to be part of it and we need to understand the strategy of how we can leverage it so that we can live our best life.
So when you say we need to be part of it, is there enough? Are there enough parts for all the people that would otherwise lose their jobs? I mean, that's the part that scares me more than anything else is will there be jobs for the next generation?
I think that people are going to be able to plug their energy in to the computer, to the machine, and they're going to be able to use the machine's going to be able to use them to be able to give them the life that they're looking to have. I'll give you an example. Let's say for right now, what percentage of your brain do you use, Lynn?
A lot of it.
Okay. Okay, people are not using the full capacity of their brain. Let's just say they're not using the full capacity. Lynn probably
Okay.
uses more than Ami, but we're not, like we're you guys are certainly more intelligent than I am. You're more successful. You've been around for longer than me. Like you guys are definitely using your brain at a higher capacity than I am. Now, if you want to be able to live your best life, you can decide how much money you want to make, right? Let's say everyone in the world will be able to decide how much money they want to make. And if you want, you can give yourself over to an AI and the AI will figure out how to monetize you instead of you figuring out how to monetize the AI. I'll give you an example of what that means. Right
Really?
now, if listen to this, this is a little bit out there,
Yeah.
but listen to this. Right now, if you get a job and you work for somebody, are you their slave?
I don't feel
Are you enslaved to a 9 to 5? Do you have to show up at 9, and if you don't show up, you're fired?
not me, but I
I'm
understand what
saying
you're saying.
not you. You can take off and go on vacation anyone you want, but if I tell you, "I need you to be here in my office tonight, and I need you to sweep up these floors, and if you don't sweep up these floors, you are fired." You will show up and sweep up the floors
Right.
because you're afraid of being fired. That's
Right.
called being somewhat enslaved.
Okay.
You have a relationship with me, and I tell you what to do, and you do it. That relationship is and if you don't, you lose your livelihood. That is a form of subjugation. That's what's going on right now. That will no longer be a thing in the future where one human tells another human that they have to show up in order to make money. What's going to happen is that you're going to have machines that you can tune into and those machines will tell you what your capacity is and how you could leverage revenue or leverage whatever. It's not going to be money the same way we're thinking of money now anymore because money's going to be worthless. It's not you're not going to be have like walk in and have cash and have dollars. Everything's going to have to switch to Bitcoin. Everything's going to have to switch to It's going to have to switch to ways that machines can't give you a dollar and take a dollar. It's just bits. And so it's going to have to switch to that in order for machines to be able to transact with humans. And machines to be able to transact with machines. It's going to have to be a blockchain. That's just where we're going and what it's going to be and how it's going to have to happen. So if you want to be able to live the type of life of being a billionaire or whatever, you have to behave in a way where you can impact a lot of machines and a lot of people and be able to work on yourself to be able to make a difference. And you could use AI or AI will use you. A lot of people that are in 9 to 5 jobs, they're just basically on autopilot. I want you to think about this, Ami, and I want you to think about this, Lynn, for a second.
My brain's
Somebody,
exploding.
if somebody's working at McDonald's right now and they have a job, Job, okay? They have a job. They're working at Burger King. They're working at McDonald's. They're working at Sephora, and they're making minimum wage. They're making minimum wage, and they cannot pay their rent, and they're getting loans to pay their rent, and they cannot pay their student loans, and they're getting personal loans to pay their student loans, and they barely can afford eggs in the market, but they're still doing that, and they're not learning how to be an entrepreneur. They're not learning how to be able to make websites on the side and make videos on the side and do whatever it is on the side to be able to use their extra time. And when they get home, they're so exhausted from being enslaved that what do? They go tune in to Instagram. They tune in to Netflix. They tune into getting drunk in the bar and giving any extra money that they have or going into debt, just getting drunk and going partying in the weekend so they can get their next dopamine hit. Those people are going to soon get a very, very big alarm when all of a sudden they lose their job to a machine that costs the corporation, instead of minimum wage, it costs them $1 an hour. You can hire Evie AI today for 50 cents a day, and it will write all your posts, all your comments, all your messages, help you with all the different things, organize your network. There's a lot that you can do with Evie AI. The crazy thing about it is if people are not willing to retool their skill and they're still living in the fax machine era, okay, think about this. When the phones came out and email came out, there were people that were like, I will never get email in my life. Do you know anyone that doesn't use email now? You can't even interact with the government if you don't have email.
You can interact with the government now, even with email, but that's a different story.
But my point is there are people that were living in the Stone Ages that were like, don't email me, call me. And now like, call people? Who calls people? I still call people, by the way, because I'm from the 70s. I remember a time when caller ID didn't exist. Do you remember a time, Ami, that caller ID didn't exist? It was a time like that for those people. So I'm from the 70s. You're maybe from the 80s or whatever. You're probably younger than me. You look younger than me. And so you're like, no, you don't. You look really young, Lynn, just by the way. You look like you're in your 30s or whatever. But anyway, bottom line is artificial intelligence, I believe, will create a tremendous amount of abundance for those that are interested in tuning into it and leaning into it. It'll either use you or you will use it. In EO, we say, own your own experience in EO and in the world. If you want to have a great life, you have to be grateful, but you have to make a great life. That means create opportunity for the people around you. I believe the following: the secret to living is giving. The reason why my business has a potential to do $100 million a year in annual revenue is not because I'm doing SEO for people and impacting one business, but it's because I can impact 1 billion people. I can make a difference for the 1.2 billion people that are on LinkedIn. And by the way, Microsoft is committed to tripling the size of LinkedIn. It's growing at a rate right now of 3 new members every second. It's growing very, very quickly. People are graduating from TikTok, from Instagram, from Snapchat, and they're moving to LinkedIn, and that's where the money is. And that's why I've invested heavily in not only training people on how to use LinkedIn, but training people on how to use artificial intelligence within LinkedIn. But to Ami's point, do it authentically. Do it in a proper way. Does this make any sense to you?
It does make sense to me, and you sort of explained some of what I'm curious about, but I still worry about people who aren't able to make that switch, like,
But let me maybe tell you a little about my own AI journey, and I'll share it with you, Joe, too. I committed to myself about 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
mhm.
that I'm going to train my brain to try use AI to make my life easier and to make my life more efficient. And that's difficult, but actively I've trained myself as tasks come up and things up and there are things I want to do. I train myself to say, can I try AI to make this more efficient? And it's really working. it is in many respects freeing me up to be more creative.
It's exactly what Joe said.
Yeah. And now what I'm trying to do, and I think we've been enormously successful in this on our marketing side.
Mhm.
Now, when I want to do it, let's just say we get a borrow in and a file, and it takes us on average 10 hours of labor to get that file ready for a bank. I want to get that down to 2 hours of man time.
I love that. I love that you're actually saving people from doing manual labor. And instead of them doing manual labor, you're giving them intelligent things to do, which, by the way, one of the things I learned in Entrepreneurs Organization, and by the way, I mentioned I'm part of EO Global right now. So I went from being in EO New York to EO Brooklyn to EO Global now.
Which chapter are you in, Joe?
I'm in EO Platinum 1. It's the global
With
chapter of EO.
Sejal, huh?
Exactly. Sejal is the cybersecurity expert in EO
I'm,
Platinum 1. So
oh
I
my,
went from being 100 pounds overweight, being unaware, being a person that wasn't authentic, to now feeling like I could really make an impact. And one of the things that I learned that employees need more than anything is autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Those three things. I learned that both in Vistage, YPO, EO. I learned it through my whole journey, the YJP, the Inc. 5000 Business Owners Forum. I learned that employees actually want to be useful. And if you're giving them useless things to do, like flipping burgers, they're tuning out of life. If you want to find people that are tuned into life, that's what you want people around you. Give them things that will make them passionate. I always tell people, take all your employees, make them make 2 lists. The things that they love doing, the things that they hate doing. The things that they love doing, even if they can automate it with AI, let them keep doing that. If they love doing it, turn off the autopilot and let them do the things they love doing. But the things that they hate doing, prioritize doing that, because you want people that are not coming to work. You want people that are coming to play, that are coming to live, that are coming to be part of your family. That's what it's about. You bring people into your house. When my cleaning lady tells me, "Oh, I don't want to do this or da da da," I was like, "Don't do any of that. Do the things you love doing, and I'll figure out a way to automate the rest of the things. If you don't like to mop, I can get a robot that can mop, but I want you to fold my laundry. I love folding laundry. Okay, great. Fold my laundry, clean the kitchen, whatever it is." The same thing with my kids. You know, some parents, they want their kids to do certain things. Like my father wanted me to be a rabbi. His father wanted him to be a doctor. I want my kids to do. I have 5 kids. I'm a single dad with 5 kids. I love for my kids to do what they love to do. So my oldest daughter, guess what? She didn't go to college. She's 19 years old. When she turned 18, she decided she's moving out of her mom's house and she's moving into my house. I bought a house. My dream was to buy a house with enough bedrooms for all my kids. I bought a 5-bedroom house in a 5-bedroom house in New Jersey. I wanted a 2-car garage. I wanted a running path in nature. I have everything I ever wanted. And I made my daughter her own little section in the room. Beautiful room I made her with her own bathroom, with her own everything. And she decided to come to my house, and it took her a year to figure out what she wanted to do. And you know what she decided she was going to do throughout the whole year? We were talking, having dinner every single night, talking about what she possibly wanted to do. Instead of me forcing her to get a minimum wage job to just be productive, go work, da da da, or go to college, da da da, she decided she wants to be an esthetician. Okay, so now she's in esthetician school, aesthetic school, and she's getting a license. She's going to graduate in January, and she's getting a license to do something that she's always wanted to do, but never had the courage to do. And it took her a year to figure it out. Are machines going to be able to like do a facelift, not a facelift, a facial on your face? I think so. They will, but you're going to want a human to talk to and to have a conversation with and to touch you. She also wants to become a masseuse now. She realized she likes massaging people's faces and their shoulders. So she's going to go to massage school and she's going to learn how to do laser and she's going to do all this stuff. I don't think the government's going to allow machines to do this faster than they're going to allow machines to flip burgers. So learn what you're really, because no one's passionate about being in McDonald's and flipping burgers. I'm telling you, nobody is. I've never really walked into McDonald's to speak to people there. But if you go into McDonald's, I've been into enough places that if you walk in there, the people are not passionate. If you go to Trader Joe's, the people at Trader Joe's are passionate. They love what they do, and they huddle. They do things correctly. And I go in as soon as right before they're about to close, so I see their systems and processes and how they operate. They can't kick me out of the store. That's one of their policies. So I end up meeting with the staff there, and I see the way that they work. And because I love Trader Joe's employees, if I was going to hire people, I would go to Trader Joe's, find their employees, and offer them a better job because I want to create a culture, and culture is so important. Have you ever toured Zappos when the Zappos was tourable back in Las Vegas? I went with EO to tour Zappos. It was amazing. to see culture, the concept of culture. And so the idea of culture, I don't think AI is going to replace culture. And so people have to be passionate and they have to love what they're doing. Ami, do you agree or disagree with culture and passion?
I totally agree. What I say about our culture here, Joe, at multi-funding, one of the things I'm most proud of is 95% of the time, folks either stay with us for 3 months or they never leave.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's
I
true.
thought maybe your water bottle was trying to
I
mix.
bought an ADD friendly water bottle. I wanted to show it to you. These are still things that human beings are going to want to enjoy doing, even in the age of artificial intelligence.
Joe, you're a fascinating guest. I could talk to you for hours.
I could too.
How do our listeners find out? What's your URL? How do they find out about you?
You just text the word demo to 973-841-8868. We'll send you a demonstration video of our artificial intelligence technology. You'll book a demo with my team, and we'll show you step by step how to be able to create incredible graphics, incredible videos, and we'll teach you exactly how to properly humanize yourself within artificial intelligence to be able to do things in an intelligent and authentic way. Most people don't realize the power of artificial intelligence. If you want to find me, I live on LinkedIn basically. I'm on LinkedIn Live right now as we speak. So if you go to joelinkedin.com, you can find me. I bought a domain that forwards to my LinkedIn. That's one of my 99 LinkedIn hacks. Used artificial, and I basically cloned myself with AI. Lynn and Hami, listen to this. I cloned myself with AI and I made a course with my 99 best ideas. Each idea is delivered in less than a minute. And there's an AI version of me delivering the idea with music and everything. And it was all created 100% with artificial intelligence. A human actually went and made sure everything was good, but it's all AI version of me. I didn't speak one word. There's two examples. If you go to 99hacks.club, because I want everyone to join the 99 Hacks Club, so I bought a .club instead of a .com. You go to 99hacks.club. You can watch two example videos there. Each are less than a minute for free. And you'll see one of the hacks there is buy a domain and use GoDaddy and forward that domain to your LinkedIn and make it memorable, like joelinkedin.com. So when I see someone on the street and they're like, hey, how do I connect with you? I say, can you remember the word Joe? Of course I can remember Joe. Who doesn't remember Joe? joelinkedin.com, because I'm the LinkedIn daddy. Okay, go. I wanted to buy linkedindaddy.com, but it's not available, like it's much easier. But that's the idea.
Pretty cool.
What a treat. What a treat to have a conversation with the SBA queen and the LinkedIn daddy. Does life get better than that?
Yeah.
Well,
was
and by the
great.
way, Ami, what's your stage name?
My stage name is Functioning Introvert.
Functioning Introvert. Oh my God. I love, so you're already sick of this conversation. You're ready to go hide in your room and recharge.
No. I'm not sick of this conversation because it's online. But if I do
Yeah.
a big room or an in-person
Physical introvert. Got
whatever,
it.
you
Got
can
it.
find me
And he's
hiding
got
out of the table. And last week I was hanging out with Lynn and all her lender buddies where they all
That sounds like a children's book, Lynn and the Lender Buddies.
where you let all the lender analysts and the underwriters and the closers out of their queues once a year to this conference, and I'm still recovering.
Yeah,
Wow.
he
Let me
had
ask
to
you a
be with a
question.
lot of people. It was really overwhelming, I'm sure.
I changed my business card. My business card used to say marketing expert, CEO, whatever. I have a new title, and I think both of you should have this title as well.
What is
I
it?
think every human being listening to this should change their title from now on, from whatever title you have to this new title. And I want you guys to try to guess what the new title is in the world of AI. What does every person need to become instead of whatever role they have? Instead of a real estate agent, instead of a CEO, an entrepreneur, a consultant, what are you becoming right now? What does everyone need to become now in order to properly have a great life?
Quickly, let me go into LinkedIn and look.
Great.
No, I didn't change it on LinkedIn, but I
What
changed
is
it on
it,
my
Joe?
business card.
Tell us.
I just
Grateful.
grateful is good. I think that everyone needs to become a prompt engineer because listen to this. There's a famous saying that says, "Ask and you shall receive." Have you
Right.
ever heard of
Of
that?
course.
Who said that? Who said ask and you shall? Was it Moses? It was somebody Jewish
Be
for
like
sure.
that.
I don't know. Somebody Jewish said, "Ask and you shall receive." And what happens if you ask a genie to make you a billionaire? What is it going to do? The genie is going to make you a Colombian drug dealer and drop you in the middle of Colombia with everyone chasing you as a billionaire, right? So you have to be very careful when you're prompting. Abracadabra in Hebrew means as you speak, so you shall create. And so we are creating our life with words. We are prompting life into existence. Like God prompted this world and it turned into existence. You can prompt anything you want. And if you're not accurate, if you're not deliberate, if you're not intentional, what you will get is something you do not need and do not want. Like when you create a terrible image or a terrible video or a terrible post, or you don't sound authentic or you sound like a robot, it's because you didn't prompt properly. And if you tell your assistant to do something and he or she does it incorrectly, it's because you didn't prompt properly. And if you tell your kids and your kids get angry or you get angry or something happens with lack of integrity, it's because you didn't prompt properly. So life is about prompting. And so I'm writing a book. I'm writing my 6th book. So I wrote 5 books already. I published them. I'm writing it manually by hand because I love it. It's called high energy prompting. And I'm letting you know right now, I'm writing a book teaching people how to be able to prompt, not with AI, but in life, prompting in life. How do you ask for what you want and get what you want out of life? Think about that.
I love it.
We'll be
So
looking forward to it.
you'll be great. You'll have it when that book's done. We'll have you back on to talk about it. How's
Yeah.
that?
Woohoo!
Sounds
Woohoo!
great. Sounds great.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
guys. God bless. Thank you. Take care.
Bye, everyone.